Great practice today, everyone. If we keep this up, we really have a chance at the conference championship, Coach Jones told the sweaty, tired group of about 30 high school boys. His words lifted their spirits for a moment. Collins, nice passes out there. Keep it up. 15-year-old Jamie Collins smirked confidently. Of course, coach. I'm the best there is. The other boys groaned at his arrogance. Coach Jones shook his head, thinking this season would be challenging with Jamie leading the team. The next day, the halls of Susan B. Anthony High School buzzed with students eager for the new year. Jamie walked down the corridor with confidence. This was his second year, and he intended to make it count. He'd already secured the starting quarterback spot, despite being smaller than most. Of course, with graduations and transfers, he was the only quarterback left, something Jamie conveniently overlooked. His arrogance made it seem like he'd outperformed legends, but in reality, he had few friends on the team. Still, he didn't care. He had the starting job, and that was all that mattered. At that moment, football wasn't on Jamie's mind. He was thinking about Lisa Clark, the cheerleader and the most popular girl in school. Despite his efforts, she never gave him a second glance. In fact, she often acted cold toward him, especially after overhearing him call her a stuck-up snob. Yet her beauty was undeniable: long blonde hair, striking blue eyes, and a figure that turned heads. Jamie couldn't explain why she had changed, but he wasn't bothered. As starting quarterback, he felt entitled to the prettiest girl. Between classes, Jamie spotted Lisa at her locker. Eager to make a connection, he walked over. He noticed her usual group of friends nearby, girls he always thought were snooty and intimidating. Still, Lisa smiled coyly at him. Leaning casually on the locker beside hers, Jamie boasted about how many touchdowns he would throw that season and how lucky she was to have him available. Just as the bell rang, Lisa surprised him. She motioned for him to kiss her. Jamie hesitated for a moment but then leaned in with closed eyes and pressed his lips to hers, expecting something magical. Instead, Lisa suddenly pushed him away, shouting, "Jamie, stop. What do you think you're doing? What's wrong?" Jamie stammered, trying to fend off her flailing arms. Lisa broke free, running down the hall in tears as students stared. Facing Lisa's furious friends, Jamie whispered, "I thought she wanted me to kiss her." Left alone, he muttered to himself as her group quickly dispersed. Jamie walked to class in a daze, confused and ashamed. He was sure Lisa had invited the kiss, but her reaction said otherwise. Lost in thought, he didn't notice the messenger handing a note to his teacher. "Jamie, Miss Pierce wants to see you right away." Jamie's heart pounded as he made his way to the school counselor's office. Nadine Pierce was known for being cold and distant, and rumors said she wasn't fond of boys. He took a deep breath and knocked. "Come in," came the voice. Inside, he heard Ms. Pierce say quietly, "Thanks, Lisa. I'll be in touch." Lisa quickly exited, flashing Jamie a smug smirk. "Sit down, Jamie. You're in serious trouble." He opened his mouth to speak, but she cut him off. "Listen carefully. I know what happened. I've talked to witnesses. You assaulted Lisa." Jamie's eyes widened. "No way, Ms. Pierce. I just..." "Don't interrupt. One more time and I'm calling the police." She slammed her hand on the desk. Fear gripped Jamie as the word police echoed in his mind. His head spun. "That's better. Now listen. Lisa and the other girls say you forced yourself on her, ignoring her pleas to stop. You boys think you can do anything you want. It disgusts me to see a young girl like Lisa treated that way." Panic crept in as Jamie replayed the moment. He realized bystanders could have misunderstood if they didn't see Lisa's earlier signals. And her friends would back her up no matter what. His stomach turned. "I should have called the police already. With the new sentencing laws, you'd be facing serious time. You'd learn about assault in jail, make some friends there," she sneered. Despite her harsh words, Ms. Pierce noticed tears forming in Jamie's eyes. Boys like you put on a show of toughness but crumble into tears when faced with real trouble. After a moment, she asked, "So, Jamie, should I call the police?" "Please, Ms. Pierce. Don't. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Please." She glanced over his file. "You've never been in trouble before. You live with your mom and sister, right?" "Yes, Jamie sniffled. "My parents are divorced. Dad works overseas." Ms. Pierce pretended to make notes but knew much more. Jamie's mother had confided in her the year before, expressing frustration over his behavior since the divorce. She said Jamie's attitude toward women was troubling. He'd adopted his father's view that women belonged at home, meant only to have children and please men. Jamie belittled his sister constantly, calling her worthless, and drove her to tears. Ms. Collins also lamented that Jamie had scared off any men she'd tried to date. Sympathetic, Ms. Pierce had urged patience but had also been planning how to address Jamie's behavior. That summer, she finalized a plan she was now ready to put into action. Ms. Pierce paused thoughtfully. "Listen carefully, young man. There's only one way to avoid going to jail." She let that sink in. "Please, Ms. Pierce. I'll do anything," Jamie pleaded. Her voice turned sharp. "Let me explain. In my graduate studies, I focused on men who act violently toward women. I found it often comes from a deep, hidden envy of femininity. The more macho the guy, the stronger the suppressed feminine side. The only way to fix this is therapy, bringing out that hidden feminine part. That's what guys like you need to understand. But honestly, I think prison might be the right place for you." "No. Please, let me try the therapy. Please, Ms. Pierce," Jamie begged. She seemed to consider his plea, though she had expected it all along. "I do love to hear a boy beg." "Fine, Jamie. Therapy it is." "Thank you, Ms. Pierce," Jamie said eagerly, relief in his voice as his tears began to dry. "Not so fast, tough guy. You have to follow every instruction I give, no exceptions. One mistake, and you're packing for jail. Got it?" Ms. Pierce fixed him with a hard stare. "Yes, I'll do whatever you say." Jamie sighed in relief. "Good. From now on, every Friday after school, you'll come here for therapy. Report right after your last class. And Jamie, don't be late." "Sure, Ms. Pierce, thanks." Jamie hurried back to class, leaving a satisfied Ms. Pierce to reflect on the day. Too easy. What a whiny little brat. All boys are like this, so easy to control. Lisa, her young protégée, had assured her this would be simple, but even Ms. Pierce was surprised by how smoothly it was going. She smiled as she started planning Friday's session. The rest of the week, Jamie thought about his situation. He shuddered at how close he had come to arrest. Prison horror stories filled his mind. This therapy was his only option. He didn't fully understand what it involved, but it didn't matter. If therapy could keep him out of jail, he'd do it. After his last class on Friday, nervous Jamie arrived at Miss Pierce's office and sat where she directed. He'd never had therapy before and wondered if he'd have to lie on a couch. "Well, Jamie, I have to admit I'm a bit disappointed you showed up. I hoped you'd skip so I could call the police." "Oh well, let's get started. This therapy I developed aims to tame the male pig by nurturing feminine traits, letting the true nature emerge." Jamie nodded, trying to seem understanding. "I call it Sissy therapy." She spun to face him dramatically. Jamie's face showed confusion. "In our sessions, we'll explore what it means to be a sissy. I'll give you weekly assignments designed to quiet your male mindset and bring out your feminine side. Understand?" Jamie nodded eagerly, though he had no clue what that meant. Sissy therapy? He wasn't a sissy. A bad feeling crept over him as he shifted uneasily. "If you fail any assignment, I'll gladly report you and testify against you. Clear?" She took Jamie's chin firmly, forcing him to look into her eyes. "Yes, Jamie said quickly, startled by the sudden contact. This woman was crazy. "Good. Now, your first assignment. Jamie, what do sissies wear under their clothes? Jamie shrugged. Well, sissies want to be as girlish as possible, right? I guess, Jamie muttered. How was he supposed to know? And what do girls wear? Jamie's throat went dry. Pea panties, I guess. Exactly. Pretty panties with lace and bows. That's what you should wear, right? Ms. Pierce smiled wickedly, enjoying his reaction. Jamie stared, wide-eyed. No way, Ms. Pierce. If you mean what I think, I'm not wearing any panties. Forget it. I'm no sissy. Jamie, we talked about this. Do what I say, or I call the police. She picked up the phone. Jamie jumped up. No, Ms. Pierce. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Please, give me another chance. She turned to him coldly. That was your last chance. Jamie saw the hate in her eyes and knew she meant it. Brightening, she went on. So, Jamie, what do little sissies wear? Pretty panties, Ms. Pierce. Jamie felt foolish saying it, his face burning. Good. Now your assignment is to wear frilly panties every day. She paused for effect. But not just any panties. Borrow them from your mom. Jamie gasped. Ms. Pierce's voice held amusement. In sissy therapy, it's important for the patient to build a closer bond with his mother. It's essential to break the cycle of violence. And I bet she has plenty of lovely panties. She saw Jamie wanted to protest but couldn't. She had him trapped. A big smile spread across her face. And don't take them without her knowing, that's rude. Trust me, I'll know. Report here every morning before class so I can check your progress. Ms. Pierce released him but not before teaching him a simple curtsy and demanding he perform it when entering or leaving her presence. It's part of your therapy, she said mockingly. Jamie walked home slowly, still in shock. What had he gotten himself into? Panties. He had always seen the frilly, silly underwear his sister and mother wore, thankful for his own boxers. Wearing girls' panties was bad enough, but how was he going to explain this to his mom? Since the divorce, their relationship hadn't been great. She always sided with his sister during their constant fights. After she caught him selling pictures of his sister in her underwear to his friends, she barely spoke to him. That sister, he couldn't let Megan find out or his life would be ruined. During Sunday dinner, Jamie desperately searched for a way out. He couldn't tell his mom about school or the threat of jail, she'd probably turn him in herself. He barely touched his food, sweat beading on his forehead as dread built. After a long internal struggle, and seeing no escape, he nervously approached his mom once the dishes were cleared. She sat knitting, while Megan worked on homework nearby. Mom, can I talk to you? His mouth was dry, sweat dotted his brow. Ms. Collins eyed him cautiously. Over the summer, his behavior had worsened. His success in football only fed his arrogance. And now, as he neared puberty, she worried he would soon outgrow both her and Megan, an intimidating thought. She braced herself for another complaint or request for money, but nothing prepared her for what came next. Yes, Jamie. What is it? She asked, sighing as she kept knitting. I need to talk to you in private. Jamie glanced at Megan. Go ahead. Megan's busy with homework, she won't hear us. Ms. Collins sounded impatient. I need a favor. Jamie's heart pounded. I want to borrow a pair of your panties. He whispered the hated word. Ms. Collins dropped her knitting, staring at him in disbelief. You want to borrow my panties? Jamie cringed at how loud she said it. Megan, sensing something was up, soon appeared, curious and excited. Jamie felt like crying as his mom burst out laughing. I must have misheard. What did you really want? Jamie lowered his head. You heard right, Mom. Megan doubled over with laughter, clutching her sides. This is priceless. Ms. Collins tried to stifle her laughter. Why would a 15-year-old boy want to wear his mother's panties? What do you plan to do with them? She asked suspiciously. Jamie blushed deeper. I was going to, wear them. Megan's laughter grew louder, making him shrink. What a softie. I knew all that macho act was fake. You're just a girly boy who wants to wear mommy's panties. This is too much. Jamie hung his head. Miss Collins was baffled. Why would her jock son want to wear her panties? He was clearly upset. Though her first instinct was to say no, curiosity crept in. Besides, it was the first time in months she had the upper hand. Well, dear, this is quite a change. Megan, it seems our star quarterback is really a cheerleader at heart. Imagine, Jamie, a prissy little pantywaist. Let's find something suitable for the new girl in the family. She led her sniffling son to her bedroom, Megan skipping behind. Can I help, Mom? Of course, dear. You can give me advice. I've never picked out panties for a sissy before, Ms. Collins giggled mockingly. Megan clapped excitedly. Now, Jamie, sit on the bed while Megan and I find something appropriate. After all, a boy's first panties should be special, don't you think? The two women giggled as they rummaged through Ms. Collins's large panty drawer. Jamie dried his tears and watched as they held up various colors, whispering and laughing. Finally, they turned to him, eyes gleaming. Okay, Jamie. Let's see how these look on you. What do you mean, Mom? Well, we have to see them on you. Lucky for you, we're almost the same size. Go to the bathroom and put them on, take everything else off so we can get the full effect. She quickly ushered the helpless boy into the bathroom and shut the door. Turning to Megan, Miss Collins shrugged and laughed. Jamie, come out now. You've been in there long enough. Jamie stared at the full-length mirror, wincing. He looked and felt ridiculous. He couldn't count how many times he had teased his sister about her girly things, sneered at the cute and adorable stuff she and their mom talked about. Now he was wearing the frilly fluff. Slowly, he opened the door and walked into the bedroom, eyes on the floor. Oh, Mom, doesn't Jamie look adorable in his panties? He sure does. Wearing those always made me feel feminine. Bet you feel the same way, don't you, darling? Jamie stayed silent as his mom and sister snickered. Mom, Jamie's slouching. He won't get the full effect. Jamie, put your right hand on your hip and hold your other hand like this. Megan struck an exaggerated feminine pose. Jamie growled at her, but his mom snapped, if you want to borrow my things, you'll do what your sister says, now. Jamie groaned and copied the pose. Flash. His sister had a camera. Jamie blinked in horror. Smile for the camera, sweetie. Jamie's mom laughed. We all know how much you love photos. Now it's your turn to be the model. Jamie was made to pose like a lingerie ad model as his sister snapped photo after photo of him in panties. Even worse, Miss Collins demanded he wear a big smile. After all, this was your idea, she teased. Just when Jamie thought he couldn't take any more, Megan stepped forward with her hands behind her back. With a flourish, she revealed a pair of bloomers, covered in layers of lace and topped with a large pink satin bow at the waistband. Mom got these for a costume party, but we thought you'd love them. Exactly. Perfect for your first pair of panties. Enjoy. But Mom. Jamie protested. No buts. You asked to borrow my panties, and these are the ones you get. Stop complaining. Jamie slumped in defeat as his mom added, want to borrow a pretty bra too? He fled the room clutching the hated panties, with his mom's and sister's mocking laughter echoing behind him. Jamie knew his relationship with them would never be the same. That night, as Miss Collins drifted off to sleep, she smiled thinking of the day's events. Seeing her loud, once Mr. Macho's son posing like a pin-up in her lingerie was priceless. She guessed it might be some prank. Jamie and his friends often made childish bets. Still, she couldn't deny how much fun she and Megan had. It was nice to have Jamie under their control for once. Meanwhile, Megan lay awake, excited by the power she felt over her older brother, prancing around in lacy underwear at her and their mother's command. She couldn't wait to see the pictures she had taken. Her bratty brother wasn't so tough tonight. She fell asleep imagining making Jamie model her mother's dresses next. In the next room, Jamie couldn't sleep either, but for different reasons. He was furious. The school incident was bad enough, but he hadn't expected his mom and sister's cruel games. He had never felt so humiliated. Worse, Miss Pierce surely had more therapy planned. He worried sick about what his teammates would think if they knew their quarterback was parading around in his mother's panties, especially with Megan and her camera involved. He vowed to get even. The next day, Jamie walked slowly toward Miss Pierce's office, feeling every eye on him. Though his mother's panties were hidden under his clothes, the ruffles made his seat stand out. That morning, his mom and sister had checked to make sure he was actually wearing his panties, and now Miss Pierce was about to do the same. Jamie entered the office and dropped into the nervous curtsy Miss Pierce had taught him. "How's our Sissy today?" she asked, amused. "Did you do your assignment?" As expected, she made him drop his pants. "Oh, Jamie, darling, they're simply precious. The bow suits you perfectly," she teased. "I thought you'd pick something less girly." After fluffing the ruffles and straightening the bow, Miss Pierce let him pull his pants back up. Jamie did so quickly, mortified someone might walk in. Miss Pierce settled into her chair and had Jamie describe his evening. Laughing at some questions, Jamie tearfully recounted the night's events. After warning him to keep wearing the panties all week or else, she allowed him to curtsy and leave. As he exited, he ran into Lisa, who was apparently coming for an appointment. "Well, if it isn't Loverbore. Heard you're doing some therapy, Jamie? Must be working. You look different already, like you've got a little secret," she teased. She knew. Miss Pierce must have told her. Great, Jamie thought. It'll be all over school soon. The rest of the day was a disaster. Jamie couldn't focus, the ruffles tickled and reminded him constantly of his situation. Worse, at lunch he saw Lisa and her friends point and laugh at him. Just great, he thought. At home, things didn't get better. He rushed to his room and changed back into his own underwear, a relief. But the teasing continued. Megan kept calling him pantywaist. When he told her to shut up, his mom snidely said since it was true, he'd just have to live with the name. At dinner, Ms. Collins and Megan grilled him about his day in panties. Did they make you feel pretty? Did you wish for a matching bra? Did you play with the ruffles in class? Did any boys see them? His mom then pulled out the photos from his fashion show and she and Megan argued over which was cutest until Jamie grabbed one and tore it up in frustration. His mom just smiled. Don't worry, panty boy. I've got plenty more copies. Maybe we'll hand them out at football practice. Megan and Ms. Collins laughed as Jamie begged them not to share the pictures. Finally, dinner ended, and his mom declared they'd had enough fun. Well, Jamie, your little adventure's over. If you'll return my panties, we can get back to normal. Jamie wanted nothing more, tired of the teasing. But with Megan watching amused, he surprised himself by asking if he could borrow the panties for the rest of the week. Jamie's mother looked at him with a sneer, convinced that after all they'd put him through, no red-blooded boy would want to see another pair of panties, let alone wear them. That must have been one heck of a bet, she thought. No matter, she and Megan would keep having their fun. Oh dear, I was worried once you wore panties, you'd never go back. Of course you can borrow them. I wouldn't dream of denying my little girl, she mocked, as Megan giggled. And every girl must learn how to wash her pretties so they stay fresh. She grabbed Jamie and led him to the bathroom, instructing him on hand-washing lingerie. She chuckled at the disgust on his face as he handled the hated garment, thinking how nice it would be to control him this easily. There. All done, she exclaimed happily. The next day, Jamie sat alone in an empty classroom, lost in thought about his situation. Preoccupied, he didn't notice Lisa and her friends approaching. Well, if it isn't our little therapy patient. I must say, Jamie, it looks like your attitude's improved, Lisa said, her friends giggling as they gathered around. Jamie flushed. You set me up, Lisa. I didn't assault you, and you know it, he spat. Oh, I know, Jamie, Lisa replied sweetly. But do you think the police will believe you over all these witnesses? The girls burst into laughter. Why me? Jamie asked sadly, knowing she was right. Jamie, darling, did you think you could talk about me behind my back and get away with it? You pig. Now, let's see what our star quarterback wears under his jeans, Lisa said with a grin. No, Lisa, don't make me talk to Ms. Pierce, Jamie. Now do it, Lisa ordered. Jamie grimaced, trapped. He dared not anger Lisa or Ms. Pierce, who controlled his future. He stared at his shoes. Triumphantly, Lisa pulled down his pants, exposing the hated panties. Oh my! Looks like our star athlete is a little girl at heart. Her friends laughed at the sight of the macho boy in frilly pink panties. What darling panties! Where'd you get those? She asked sweetly. Your mother's. Lucky boy. Most moms would be shocked if their sons asked to borrow their prettiest undies. Your mom must realize you're more girl than boy. The teasing continued until the bell rang. Nearly in tears, Jamie yanked up his jeans and rushed to class. The week didn't improve. Jamie changed into his football uniform in a bathroom stall to keep his secret. Some guys teased him about avoiding the locker room, but Jamie tried to downplay it. At home, his mother and sister pressed their advantage. One night, his mom demanded he wash the dishes, a job usually done by the women. I know you always thought dishwashing was women's work, but with your new taste in underwear, it's perfect for you. Now get to it, she teased. Then Megan handed him a brightly wrapped package. Go on, open it, she urged. Excited, Jamie tore it open to find a sheer, heavily ruffled pink bib apron. His shoulders slumped as his mom placed it over his head and tied a big bow behind him. Megan and I saw this and thought of you. Isn't it funny? There. Sissy boy all set. Sissies just love helping in the kitchen, don't they, dear? She said with a smirk. Jamie groaned. Yes, Don't be grumpy. And remember to wear the rubber gloves. We must protect our dainty hands. The women laughed at their own joke, continuing to comment. Doesn't Jamie look darling in his new apron? I knew he'd love it. With his choice in panties, he must like anything with ribbons and bows. He does have very feminine tastes. I always knew he was a big sissy. Yes, it's so nice he's finally out. At first, Jamie tried to ignore them, knowing they aimed to embarrass him. Soon, their jabs hit home. Shut up. I'm not a stupid sissy. I'm not, and you know it, he shouted. Whatever you say, Jamie. By the way, I think your panties are dry, his mom smirked. Jamie knew he was trapped. As long as Ms. Pierce made him wear those panties, his mom and sister wouldn't let up. That night, after finishing the dishes and hanging his mother's panties to dry, Jamie backed away as his mom and sister approached. He knew they were up to something. Brother dear, we know it's been a tiring week, admitting the truth about yourself and expressing it in your most intimate garments. He heard his sister snicker. Well, Mom and I thought you'd have sweet dreams in this. Jamie recoiled in horror. They held up a floor-length pink peignoir with billowy sleeves and bows everywhere. What do you think? I think you're both crazy. There's no way I'm wearing that. It's disgusting. Get it away from me, you idiots. Miss Collins glanced at her daughter with mock surprise. Oh dear. Looks like we made a big mistake. How could we have been so wrong? We're sorry, Jamie. Quickly, she grabbed the wet panties from the shower rod and headed to her room. Caught off guard by his mother's actions, Jamie began to panic. He had to get those panties back. Running after her, he called out, Wait, Mom, I didn't mean to get upset. It's just that. What? She snapped, spinning to face him, hands on hips. Well, it's just that I'm not a sissy like you and Megan keep saying. I just wanted to try wearing panties for a few days, you know? Honestly, Jamie, I think it's time to end your little cross-dressing experiment. She turned and continued toward her room. Mom, no. I'll wear the nightgown. Absolutely not. You had your chance. Now leave us alone. Jamie's mind raced. If he showed up without the panties tomorrow, he'd be in big trouble. Please, Mom. I'm really sorry. Let me wear your nightgown. It's really pretty. Miss Collins bit her fingernail, considering. This set is so frilly and feminine, no real boy would wear such a sissy thing. Anyone who wears this must be a real girl at heart. No, Mom. It's perfect. Really. I can't wait to put it on, Jamie pleaded desperately. Miss Collins smiled triumphantly. Megan had guessed right, her son was desperate to keep wearing her panties to school. He was already doing dishes in a frilly apron. Now he was going to wear the most feminine garment in her closet. She wasn't sure how far she could push him, but she intended to find out. She and Megan were having too much fun, especially after what Jamie had put them through. Megan joined in. Then say it, panty boy. Tell us what a sissy you are. Mother and daughter looked at Jamie expectantly. Okay. I'm a sissy, Jamie said in a sing-song voice. Satisfied? They weren't, and started to walk away. Wait. Jamie called desperately. I'm a big sissy. I love wearing frilly panties and things. I've always wanted to wear a pretty nightgown to bed. Well, if you insist. Megan, help your brother into his new nightgown and meet me in my bedroom. As Miss Collins left, Megan approached Jamie like a predator stalking wounded prey. Come on, sissy dear. Let's make you all pretty. Oh, shut up, Megan. Just give me the stupid thing and leave me alone. Tut tut, brother dear. Better watch your mouth before I call Mom back. Jamie knew she was right and stayed quiet. That's better, sissy. I can't wait to see you in this. As Megan helped him into the peignoir and matching panties, she continued to poke fun at his fragile pride. Well, Mr. Bigshot, don't you look precious? Look at you, a big soft girly. I can't wait to tell my friends. They won't believe me, especially Jane, she used to think you were cute. Wait till she finds out you wear nightgowns prettier than hers. Megan laughed as she led her sissified brother downstairs. Jamie begged her not to tell anyone. Soon, Jamie found himself in his mother's bedroom. Oh, how sweet. Miss Collins clapped delightedly. Your father bought me that as an anniversary present 1 year. I can't imagine what he was thinking, it's ridiculously frilly. But it looks great on you, Jamie, she laughed. See for yourself. Jamie glumly looked into his mother's full-length mirror and cringed. He felt ridiculous. The nightgown was even worse than the awful panties. Floor-length, with layers of sheer fabric and satin bows, he'd never seen his mother wear anything like it. Noticing his sour expression, Miss Collins warned him to smile pretty, or else. As Jamie forced a fake smile, his sister started snapping pictures again. Megan posed him in one feminine stance after another, while Miss Collins appeared with pink slippers with a small heel and a big bow. Here, Jamie. These go with the set. Reluctantly, Jamie slid on the slippers. Though the heels were only about an inch, he struggled to walk. Just think. Your first nightgown and first heels all in one night, his mom enthused. Now, let's get a pretty snapshot to send to Bill Sr. I'm sure he'll be thrilled to see someone enjoying his gift, even if it's his sissy son. The women laughed as Jamie begged them not to send the pictures. Let's just see how cooperative you are during the school year, his mother teased. The next day at school, Jamie emerged from Ms. Pierce's office and was met by Lisa and her clique. Laughing, Lisa felt the ruffled seat of his panties under his jeans and handed him a pink lunch bag. Here's your lunch, dearie. Don't let me see you eating anything else, she said mysteriously before strutting away. At lunch, Jamie sat glumly with his teammates, starving, knowing his lunch wouldn't be much. Hey Jamie. Nice lunch bag. Just our luck to have a sissy for a quarterback. Jamie mumbled an excuse about running out of brown bags at home, all the while cursing Bob Hayward for drawing everyone's attention to it. Bob was a large, muscular lineman who made it clear he didn't like Jamie and thought he had no business being the team's quarterback. Jamie was genuinely afraid of the loudmouth bully. Bob's teasing continued as Jamie pulled out a grapefruit half and a diet soda. His teammates, aware of Jamie's struggle to keep weight on his small frame, gave him curious looks. Jamie tried to ignore them, hoping they'd pick someone else to tease, until a voice sent chills down his spine. "Hi, Bob. Hi, guys. Ready for the game on Friday?" It was Lisa. Bob flexed his chest and glanced at Lisa with obvious interest. Lisa smiled coyly. "Oh, hi Jamie," she said, pretending to notice him for the first time. Eyeing Jamie's meager lunch, she exclaimed, "How sweet. You're on the diet too. All us cheerleaders are doing it." Jamie stared at Lisa, unsure of her plan. Lisa feigned annoyance, reaching into her backpack and flashing the cover of Teen Girl magazine. Jamie felt sick as he read one headline, "Wiggle your way into that darling back-to-school dress on our exclusive grapefruit and soda diet." Horrified at what his teammates must think, Jamie hurriedly denied everything, but his words fell on deaf ears as the others picked up their trays and left, casting skeptical looks at him. When they were alone, Lisa smiled mockingly. "Oops. Maybe I gave your teammates the wrong impression," she teased. Jamie seethed silently as Lisa continued, "This is what you'll be eating for lunch and dinner until I say otherwise. And just to be sure, we'll have surprise weigh-ins to catch any cheating. After all, you want to wiggle into your new school dresses, don't you?" She laughed, and Jamie's face burned with frustration. That evening, Jamie's sister teased him about his new diet. His mother called it adorable that he cared about his figure and even suggested he join her and the other girls for aerobics at the health club. Later, Jamie stood at the sink wearing jeans and a t-shirt, tied up in a June Cleaver apron, finishing the dishes. On his head was a new headband with a large white bow, courtesy of Megan. Jamie knew how ridiculous he looked, and his sister's laughter confirmed it. Bitterly, he thought he'd never seen her so happy. As he finished, Miss Collins approached, wine bottle in hand and an evil gleam in her eye. Jamie felt dread as she locked eyes with him. "Jamie, Buffy Harrington is having some girls from the club over, and she's out of wine. Be a sweetie and take this over to her." "But Mom, it's still daylight. I can't go outside like this." Jamie gestured wildly at his apron and bow. "Of course you can't, silly," his mother soothed. Jamie sighed in relief as she continued, "Imagine a boy going out in an apron to a neighbor's house," she chuckled. "Don't be ridiculous." Miss Collins helped him out of the apron and folded it neatly. "You need to be presentable before you go out." Grinning, Megan entered carrying an armful of items clearly for him. Jamie tried to escape, but his mother grabbed his arm, spun him around, and gave him a swat on the bottom, reminding him his panties could disappear at any time. The threat worked. Jamie slumped in defeat. Megan could hardly contain her excitement as she prepared her brother for the errand. Their private joke was about to go public. Jamie's reign as neighborhood terror was ending in humiliation. Jamie pleaded with his mother as Megan slipped pink girls' kids onto his feet. "Please, Mom. No. I can't go outside in girls' clothes. Everyone will see me. How will I explain it? Please. If the guys find out, I'm dead. I'll do whatever you say." Miss Collins ignored his tearful pleas and laughed as she buttoned a fluffy pink wool cardigan over his t-shirt. Jamie cringed in horror. It was one of his mother's, covered with appliqued bows and horribly feminine. As she buttoned the last pearl button under his chin, she stared into his terrified eyes. "You'll do whatever we say." As a final touch, she removed his hairbow and replaced it with a girl's straw boater hat with a ribbon around the crown. "There. Perfect. A darling sissy boy out on a neighborhood errand." Despite Jamie's protests, Megan and Miss Collins pushed him to the door. After a giggle and a final shove, Jamie found himself outside with the wine in hand. Frantically, he tried the door. It was locked. As he pounded on it, he heard his mother and sister laughing. Realizing he had no choice, Jamie started toward Miss Harrington's house at the end of the block. He considered ripping off the sweater, hat, and shoes but felt his mother's and sister's eyes on him. He knew the penalty for failing to play along was jail. No, he'd get this over with as fast as possible. As Jamie walked down the street, He imagined the amused stares of neighbors who might see him pass by. But what troubled him most was the thought of facing Ms. Harrington in his Sissy outfit. Over the summer, he and his friends had played pranks on the pretty but overbearing divorcee, and he was not happy to be returning to the scene of the crime. Approaching her well-kept house, he noticed the cars of her guests parked outside. This was going to be the worst day of his life, he thought bitterly. Despite his wishes to avoid it, Jamie soon found himself standing at the door. Shaking nervously, he knocked softly. Before he finished, the door swung open, and there stood Buffy Harrington. "Jamie, your mother called and said you were bringing the wine. How thoughtful of her. But don't just stand there, come on in." Ms. Harrington grabbed his arm and ushered him into the living room, where a group of slightly tipsy country club ladies had gathered for a girls' night. "Ladies," Ms. Harrington announced. "Look who's here. Our star athlete with the wine. You remember Jamie, he egged everyone's cars last time we got together. And doesn't he look darling? What a cute hat. And that sweet little sweater, is that your mother's? I've always loved it on her. Never thought I'd see it on you. Turn around so we can see." Jamie reluctantly turned, and the women burst into laughter. As Jamie stood with his head down, the teasing began. "Is this the new uniform for macho football players? I wish my daughter would wear pretty things like Jamie's, she's stuck on the grunge look. Isn't it precious? A boy wearing such a feminine sweater, no real boy would wear something so delicate." Finally, Ms. Harrington interrupted. "Jamie, that pink really suits you, and it gives me an idea. I was just gathering things for the resale shop, and there's an outfit I know you'll adore. Stay right here." She left the room, leaving Jamie to the giggles and whispers of her friends. Ms. Harrington soon returned, beaming, carrying a bundle. "Jamie, try this on and see how it fits." Jamie paled at the sight of the hot pink dress with large white polka dots. He stepped back toward the door, stammering, "No thanks, Ms. Harrington. I think you've got the wrong idea. I don't wear dresses or stuff like that. I just wore this sweater because I was cold." "Really?" Ms. Harrington smirked as another woman blocked his way. "Right, and I suppose that cute hat and those tennis shoes were handy too? No, I think we have a sissy boy here, don't you agree, ladies?" The women nodded loudly. "Stop the act, girlie, and put on this dress. Girls." To Jamie's horror, several women held him as Ms. Harrington pulled down his pants, exposing his panties. "So you're all boy, huh? Only a true sissy would wear these." Before long, Jamie was stripped down to his panties. Horrified, he tried to cover himself, which only amused the women more. Worse, he felt himself becoming excited. The women noticed and taunted him further. "Oh, look. He really loves this. What a pansy." Tears streamed down his face as Ms. Harrington approached with the dress. Pulling it over his head, she mocked, "Jamie, I know you're going to love this dress as much as I did. I can't wear it anymore, it's too frilly for me, but with your boyish hips and pretty shoulders, it will be perfect. Let me tie this halter. There. You look simply adorable. Don't you love the built-in petticoat? It really adds fullness. But wait. Here are the accessories: high-heeled pumps, button earrings, a bubblegum necklace and bracelet, and matching polka dot gloves with bows. Done. You look like the perfect country club sissy, ready for lunch with the girls." The room exploded with laughter. For the next hour, Ms. Harrington forced Jamie to join the party. "After all," she sneered, "you look the part." All conversation centered on Jamie. "So, Jamie darling, what do you think of the fall fashions? I bet you love the classic sweater sets, they're so feminine and pretty. Of course, you'll need pearls. Since you like your mother's things so much, maybe she'll lend you hers." An overweight woman in a cocktail dress changed the subject. "Jamie, dear, do you have a boyfriend yet?" The ladies giggled as Jamie replied, "Of course not. I'm not gay. I like girls." "Oh, Jamie, sweetheart, time to wake up and smell the pansies. What girl wants to date a boy who wears his mommy's sweaters and lacy panties? Girls want real men, not sissies. Face it, your dates will be wearing the pants from now on. Buffy grinned as Jamie shrank under her harsh words. As Jamie tried to speak, another woman asked, "Jamie, what do the guys on your football team think about your taste in girls' clothes?" The women smirked at the panic on Jamie's face. Jamie began to plead, "No, please don't tell anyone. You have to promise. They'll kill me." He jumped to his feet, feeling the rustle of his petticoats beneath his dress. Now, Jamie. All of us girls have little secrets, and we'll keep yours for now." Buffy paused, then smiled thoughtfully. "Tell you what, do they still introduce the teams before the football games?" Jamie nodded gloomily. "Well, when they introduce the star quarterback, I want you to drop into a little curtsy. Won't that be sweet?" The ladies erupted in laughter and applause. "I bet you already know how to curtsy, don't you?" she teased. Jamie winced as they insisted he demonstrate. After the women said their goodbyes, Jamie found himself running home, still in his new dress. His heart pounded as he closed the door behind him. "Well, look, Megan, our little girl has returned. Doesn't she look grown up in her new dress?" Miss Collins and her daughter delighted in forcing Jamie to recount the evening's events. Jamie conveniently left out the curtsy part. After the pair captured the night on film, Jamie was allowed to change into his nightgown and head to bed. As he crawled under the covers, Miss Collins hung Jamie's new dress on the front of his closet door. "I'll lend you one of my padded dress hangers until you get your own, dearie." Friday was supposed to be one of the biggest days of Jamie's life, the first home football game of the season. He should have been excited, but instead, he felt miserable. The team needed to win to have a shot at the conference title. Though they faced a team they should normally beat, Jamie's performance had declined sharply. He was nervous, and his therapy distracted him from football. His new diet left him drained and weak. Practices had been terrible. Even the midday pep rally failed to lift his spirits. Despite trying to ignore them, he couldn't help but notice Lisa's mocking glances as she led the cheers. Right after school, Jamie headed to Ms. Pierce's office, hoping the session would be brief so he could focus on the game. After performing the required curtsy, he sank sullenly into the chair across from Ms. Pierce's desk. "Well, Jamie, it's been quite a week. Time for a new assignment, can you believe it?" Jamie muttered a quiet response, prompting Ms. Pierce to rise and stand before him. "What was that, Jamie? Do you have something to say?" Her tone was sharp. "No, good. Let's discuss your week." "Oh, Ms. Pierce, it was awful. My mom and sister made fun of me, calling me a pansy. Now mom's making me do the dishes, and my sister keeps teasing me. Please don't make me keep doing this. I'm sorry, I really am." Jamie's tears and pleas were genuine. There, Jamie. No need to get upset. The early stages of therapy are always hard. You're experiencing life differently and challenging old beliefs. Feeling anxiety and embarrassment just means the therapy is working. I'm glad your family is involved, it makes therapy more effective, even special. Family often instinctively knows what the patient needs. You should thank them. And your sister's right, you are a sissy, whether you admit it or not. Jamie slumped even further in his chair. Ms. Pierce's voice grew colder. "For this week's assignment, you'll go on a shopping trip. Since you enjoyed wearing your mother's panties, you'll select your own. I want an entire wardrobe of the laciest, frilliest panties you can find, perfect for someone like you. Tell the salesperson who they're for, and get rid of your old underwear, you won't need them anymore." She smiled down at him. "And Jamie, good luck in the game tonight." The stadium buzzed with energy that night. The school fight song echoed in the crisp autumn air as cheerleaders whipped the crowd into a frenzy. After an inspiring pep talk from the coach, Jamie faced the moment he dreaded. Buffy Harrington and her friends sat in the stands. She'd called out to him during warm-ups. Earlier, Jamie had found a good luck bouquet of pansies from Buffy waiting at home. He steeled himself. And now, ladies and gentlemen, starting at quarterback, number 14. Jamie Collins. The crowd roared as Jamie jogged through the column of cheerleaders to the 50-yard line where his teammates waited. What the crowd didn't see was the grimace on Jamie's face as he turned toward the homestands and dropped into a curtsy, nervous and hurried, but unmistakably a curtsy. The roar shifted to confused murmurs as he joined his team. When his teammates demanded an explanation, Jamie called it a joke. The coach gave him a sharp look as he came off the field. Jamie began to plead, "No, please don't tell anyone. You have to promise, they'll kill me." As he jumped to his feet, he felt the soft rustle of his petticoats beneath his dress. Now, Jamie. All of us girls have little secrets, and we'll keep yours, at least for now." Buffy paused, a thoughtful smile crossing her face. "Tell you what, do they still introduce the teams before football games?" Jamie nodded gloomily. "Well, when they announce the star quarterback, I want you to drop into a little curtsy. Won't that be sweet?" The ladies roared with laughter. "I bet you already know how to curtsy, don't you?" she teased. Jamie cringed as they insisted he demonstrate. After the women said their goodbyes, Jamie found himself running home, still wearing his new dress. His heart pounded as he closed the door behind him. "Well, look, Megan. Our little girl has returned. Doesn't she look all grown up in her new dress?" Miss Collins and her daughter gleefully forced Jamie to recount the evening's events, though Jamie conveniently left out the curtsy. After memorializing the night on film, Jamie was allowed to change into his nightgown and go to bed. As he climbed under the covers, Miss Collins hung his new dress on the front of his closet door. "I'll lend you one of my padded dress hangers until you get your own, dearie." Friday was supposed to be one of the biggest days of Jamie's life, the first home football game of the season. But he was utterly miserable. The team needed to win to keep their shot at the conference title. Though the opposing team was one they should beat, Jamie's performance had sharply declined. He was nervous, distracted by his therapy, and drained by his new diet. Practices had been awful. Even the pep rally failed to lift his spirits. Despite trying to ignore them, he couldn't avoid Lisa's mocking glances as she led the cheers. After school, Jamie headed to Ms. Pierce's office, hoping for a short session so he could focus on the game. After performing the obligatory curtsy, he sank sullenly into the chair opposite Ms. Pierce's desk. "Well, Jamie, it's been quite a week. Time for a new assignment, can you believe it?" Jamie muttered something under his breath, prompting Ms. Pierce to stand and face him. "What was that, Jamie? Do you have something to say?" Her tone was sharp. "No, good. Let's discuss your week." "Oh, Ms. Pierce, it was terrible. My mom and sister made fun of me, calling me a pansy. Now mom's making me do dishes, and my sister keeps teasing me. Please don't make me keep doing this. I'm sorry, I really am." Jamie's tears and pleas were genuine. There, Jamie. No need to get upset. The early stages of therapy are hard. You're experiencing life differently and challenging old beliefs. Anxiety and embarrassment mean the therapy is working. I'm glad your family is involved, it makes therapy more effective and special. Family often instinctively knows what you need. You should thank them. And your sister's right, you are a sissy, whether you admit it or not. Jamie slumped further in his chair. Miss Pierce's voice grew colder. "For this week's assignment, you'll go shopping. Since you enjoyed wearing your mother's panties, you'll select your own. An entire wardrobe of the laciest, frilliest panties you can find, perfect for someone like you. Tell the salesperson who they're for, and get rid of your old underwear, you won't need them anymore." She smiled down at him. "And Jamie, good luck in the game tonight." The stadium buzzed that night. The school fight song echoed in the crisp autumn air as cheerleaders whipped the crowd into a frenzy. After an inspiring pep talk from the coach, Jamie faced the moment he dreaded. Buffy Harrington and her friends were in the stands. She'd called to him during warm-ups. Earlier, Jamie had found a good luck bouquet of pansies from Buffy at home. He steeled himself. And now, ladies and gentlemen, starting at quarterback, number 14. Jamie Collins. The crowd roared as Jamie jogged through the cheerleaders to the 50-yard line. What the crowd didn't see was the grimace on his face as he turned to the homestands and dropped into a curtsy, nervous and hurried, but unmistakably a curtsy. The roar shifted to confused murmurs as he joined his team. When his teammates demanded an explanation, Jamie called it a joke. The coach gave him a sharp look as he came off the field. Ms. Whitman sneered as she sized Jamie up. He didn't look like the usual type. Occasionally, special boys came in to shop for themselves, but she could spot them a mile away, and they usually came when the store was quiet, not on the busiest day of the week. It didn't matter. She would treat Jamie just like any other boy daring enough to shop here. "Well, sweetie, I think we can help you. We have the most adorable undies you can imagine," she said with an overly sweet smile, steering him toward racks filled with lacy lingerie. Jamie stuck out like a sore thumb in the busy store, feeling all the eyes on him. His face burned hotter as they went deeper into the lingerie section. At a wall of mirrors, the saleslady clapped her hands loudly to grab attention. "Now, who are these panties for?" Jamie fought off humiliation long enough to whisper, "For me." The saleslady's face twisted in mock surprise as she glanced at nearby customers, confirming what she'd heard. Laughter bubbled from several women and girls. Jamie wished he could disappear. With Jamie now the center of attention, the saleslady put on a show. "Oh my. We rarely get boys buying panties, but if you love dainty things, why not? Let's get you measured for size." Jamie shut his eyes, hoping to escape the stares and whispers. "Gross. What a pervert. He must be a real sissy. I bet he wears dresses too. How funny. I can just picture him in a darling little dress. I knew he was a pansy the moment he walked in." Pleased with the reaction, Ms. Whitman picked a dozen of the frilliest panties she could find, just as extravagant as the ones Jamie had been wearing all week. Turning to him, she said, "Most girls prefer comfortable cotton panties, but these are perfect for pretend girls like you." She made Jamie hold a pair of lacy pink panties up to his waist and smirked, "Perfect. Don't you just adore them?" Jamie meekly nodded. "Of course you do, pretties for prissy. Now, want some pretty bras to match?" Ms. Whitman asked loudly, a gleam in her eye. Before Jamie could protest, she answered for him, "Of course you do, dearie." Dragging him to the bra rack, she hissed in his ear, "Stop pretending, sissy boy. If I'm helping little Marys like you, I'm at least getting a decent commission. Besides, I know you love it, so quit the act." She squeezed his arm to make sure he understood. Afraid to resist, Jamie meekly followed. Soon, she had his shirt off and was fitting him with a lacy padded bra, much to the delight of the giggling shoppers gathered around, eager to share in his humiliation. "This bra lets young girls and sissies like you show some shape, even if you haven't developed much. It's like a training bra. See how it lifts you and creates the illusion of a cup chests." She fussed with the straps and cups, enclosing Jamie's chest in satin. "Don't you love the pretty bow between the cups? Just like mommy's," she teased. "The boys will love how you look in sweaters." Jamie was horrified. The hateful contraption made it look like he had chests. As a tear slipped down his cheek, the saleslady said loudly, "Don't worry, sweetie. You'll start to develop soon. Now, I know you hate covering your pretty new bra, but you should put your shirt on. You want to wear your bra home, don't you?" She dared him to disagree with a look. More giggles rose as Jamie meekly replied, "Yes, Even with his sweatshirt on, he looked like he had two girlish bumps, just like he had teased girls in class years earlier. Finally, Ms. Whitman led the ashamed boy to the register and rang up the purchase. "Using mommy's credit card today, dearie? How sweet." She deliberately held up each panty and bra for the other customers before carefully wrapping them in pink tissue and placing them in a large bright pink bag emblazoned with La Femme. Handing the bag to Jamie, she leaned in to look him in the eye. "Enjoy your new dainties, precious. I put my card in the bag. Come see me when you need a pretty new party dress." With the salesladies' and customers' laughter ringing in his ears, Jamie bolted from the store in tears. He pedaled home as fast as his legs would carry him, his mind on the morning's disaster. Angry at how the saleslady treated him, Jamie forgot to take off his sweatshirt and bra. As he entered the kitchen on his way to his room, his sister immediately intercepted him. "Mom wants to see you as soon as you get in." Jamie quickly hid the bag behind his back while his sister tugged his free arm toward the living room. "How was your shopping, Jamie? Did you find what you were looking for?" Yeah, I guess so." "Well, what did you buy?" "Oh, just some athletic shorts and stuff, you know." "How nice. Why don't you show me what you bought?" his mother insisted. Jamie hesitated, desperately trying to think of a way out. Meanwhile, Megan snuck behind him, snatched the bag from his back, and handed it to their mother as Jamie tried to retrieve it from her outstretched arm. "Mom, look. Jamie's been shopping at La Femme." Miss Collins smiled broadly and pulled out pair after pair of dainty panties while Megan held her brother tight. Well, aren't these simply adorable? What exquisite taste you have. I thought you'd find what you wanted at La Femme. Don't they have the femmiest things?" His mother continued pulling panties from the bag. "Looks like you won't have to borrow my undies anymore, you've got plenty of your own." "I wish I could have seen it. Imagine, Mom, a boy buying panties at La Femme." Megan howled with laughter. Incredulous at her brother's purchases, Megan lifted his sweatshirt. "Mom, look. Oh, how simply charming. He couldn't wait to put one on." Miss Collins commanded Jamie to remove his shirt as she and Megan cooed over his pretty new bra. While Jamie stood there, utterly humiliated, his mother turned back to the bag. "Looks like our Sissy here has made a friend," she said, holding up the card the saleslady had slipped inside. "Don't call me that," Jamie snapped, pushing his sister's hand away as she traced the lacy cups of his bra. Miss Collins quickly stood and grabbed Jamie by the chin. Locking eyes with him, her voice turned steely. "Listen up, Buster. I don't know what's going on with you. First, you begged to borrow my panties. Then you go shopping and come back with your own panties and bras." She snapped the strap of his bra sharply, "from the most feminine girls' store in town. And you even had the nerve to lie about it right to my face. Didn't you think I'd find out soon enough from the credit card bill? Well, it's time to face the truth, you're just a prissy little girly boy." Jamie fled to his room in tears, slammed the door, and collapsed on his bed. Downstairs, his mother and sister hugged each other, shrieking with glee. When the celebration ended, they began planning for the new girl in the family. After finishing the dishes and putting away his apron, Jamie prepared to retreat to his room and forget the day's humiliations. But his mother and sister had other plans. "Sissy," Miss Collins began coldly, "now that you've made your true desires clear, things are going to change around here. Honestly, I'm shocked by this week's developments. I always thought you were a normal boy. I guess your sister was right, she says she always knew you were all girl. Well, I'm glad we finally know the truth so we can help you." "Yeah, right," Jamie thought, glaring at his sister. Megan, once afraid he might retaliate, now knew the tables had turned. With a daring smirk, she stuck out her tongue at him. Miss Collins continued, her voice mocking concern but betraying amusement. "Your sister and I have been talking all afternoon. We can't imagine what it was like for you all those years, pretending to be like normal boys, playing sports, roughhousing, doing things with your father, playing video games." She sighed dramatically, stroking his short hair. "All the while, you were dying to play with dolls, wear pretty dresses, and do girl things with Megan and me. Well, we intend to help you make up for lost time. We're just so happy you're finally getting the therapy you so desperately need." Miss Collins cruelly yanked a handful of Jamie's hair, forcing his eyes to meet hers. Jamie paled at the mention of therapy. "That's right, Sissy dear," his mother chirped. "After your little shopping trip, I called Ms. Pierce. I thought she might give me some insight into your recent behavior. I was right. She told me all about your assault on that sweet Lisa Clark. You little pig. You should be ashamed. I even offered to turn you in myself, but Lisa said she's satisfied as long as you're getting the help you need. Her tone turned icy. The minute you don't cooperate, it's off to prison for you. Understand, Sissy? Jamie nodded dejectedly, stunned. If you want to avoid becoming someone else's prisoner, you'll do everything your sister and I say. Fixing him with a hard stare, Ms. Collins added, Ms. Pierce says deep down you love this, and I want to see a big sissy smile on your face at all times. Do you understand me? Yes, Mother. Jamie forced a smile, desperate for them to tire of their game and leave him alone. No such luck. Good. Glad that's settled. Now, on to the part you'll love. Megan took over. Well, big brother, from the panties and bras you bought, it's clear you want to express your true self. But you can't just put on lingerie and expect to be a girl, you have to work at being pretty and feminine. Step 1. Develop a beauty regimen. Before long, Megan had her hapless older brother in a sweet-smelling bubble bath, instructing him on shaving his legs and underarms, removing body hair Jamie had only recently started to accept. As he toweled off, Ms. Collins handed him a pink floral container of bath powder. Pressing a powder puff into his hand, she said, This was another gift from your father. I thought it was too sweet-smelling, but I bet you'll love it. Forcing a smile, Jamie inhaled deeply. It's heavenly. His mother and sister laughed in approval. After dressing Jamie in his mother's peignoir set and slippers, his sister decided to raise the stakes. Now, Sissy, I know it must be hard. Boys who want to look like girls aren't exactly welcomed in society. I know how mean kids can be. Jamie shuddered. Still, it's more important to be honest with yourself than to care what others think. After all, the closet is a lonely place, don't you agree? Jamie didn't like where this was headed but felt his mother's eyes on him. Yeah, I guess so, he lied. Good. Mom, and I think it's precious you want to wear girly things under your boy clothes. But someone as feminine as you shouldn't hide your feelings. Still, you shouldn't just show up at school in a cute dress, not yet. It might shock your friends. So Mom and I decided you should go slowly, drop little hints of your true self. Then, as time goes on, we'll help you become more and more girlish. Isn't that a great idea? Before Jamie could respond, Megan began plucking his eyebrows with tweezers while his mother held his arms. Jamie howled in pain, but Megan grinned wildly. There, she exclaimed. Miss Collins produced a hand mirror and held it up. Jamie gasped in dismay. His eyebrows had been shaped into fine, girlish arches. Seeing the effect, Megan teased, Mom and I agree nothing feminizes the face like thinly plucked eyebrows. Most women prefer heavier brows like ours, but we knew you'd want the ultra-feminine look. Were we right? Jamie's shoulders slumped as tears began to fall. I knew it. Look, Mom, tears of joy. Megan teased. Monday morning, Megan appeared in his room. Mother thinks I should help you get dressed for now. Relishing her new control, she pinched his bottom. Let's see what darling things you should wear today. As she rifled through his underwear drawer, Jamie wasn't surprised to find all his old underwear was gone. With a joyful giggle, Megan held up a matching pink lace bra and panty set. Jamie groaned. Just then, his mother appeared with a package from La Femme. While you were doing homework yesterday, Megan and I stopped by La Femme to visit your new friend, Ms. Whitman. I must say, you made quite the impression. Jamie scowled at the memory of the saleslady. Noticing, Ms. Collins continued, afterward, she thought these special little dainties might help you feel better about yourself. Jamie reached cautiously into the bag as if it held snakes. Pulling out a strange garment made of heavy flesh-colored material, he stared in disbelief. His mother quickly grabbed it and pulled it up his legs. Laughing, she tucked him in before yanking sharply. Jamie gasped, it felt like it was cutting him in half. Ms. Collins said, Ms. Whitman knew you'd love how this girdle gives you a pretty, girlish front. And look, gel padding on the hips, just like a real girl. Your panties will fit much better now. Megan tried to stifle a laugh at his horrified face. This afternoon, write Ms. Whitman a darling thank you note so she knows she was right about you, Ms. Collins added with a grin. Jamie pulled on his panties slowly, crushed by how they fit. His hips were hopelessly girlish. This couldn't be happening. He looked up to see Megan bearing down, holding a bra with a broad smirk. "Mom, Megan, no way," Jamie started, but a flash of anger on his mother's face made him change tack. "I mean, I don't think I want to wear a bra today." Jamie only wanted to do the minimum Ms. Pierce required. Besides, explaining his plucked eyebrows and new hips was hard enough. "Of course you want to wear a bra. You bought it. Girlie, you must be dying to wear it. Ms. Pierce says it wasn't even part of your assignment. Besides, a darling bra makes any boy feel pretty. You want to feel pretty, don't you, sissy boy?" Knowing he had no choice, Jamie nodded glumly. Megan slipped the bra over his arms, fastened the back, and fussed with the straps, giving her mother a victorious look. That afternoon, Jamie sat at the kitchen table, rereading the letter he'd written. Unhappy with his words, his mother finally dictated what he should write. "Dear Ms. Whitman, I just had to write." His mother thought this hilarious, "and thank you for helping me with my recent purchase of panties and bras at La Femme. As a boy, I was nervous buying such feminine garments, but you were so helpful. I love the dainty things you helped me pick, and the girdles you gave my mom for me are perfectly darling. They make me feel so feminine. I can't wait to visit La Femme again. I saw so many cute things I won't know where to start, but I know you will. Yours in panties. Jamie, Sissy, Collins." There, that's better, don't you think? I bet Ms. Whitman will post it with the other thank yous on the board by the register. Won't that be sweet? I'm sure all the ladies and girls will be amused. That night, as Jamie lay in bed, the lace of his nightgown itching him, he remembered the day's humiliations. At breakfast, his mother demanded he sit up straight like a little lady after he slumped to hide the lumps in his shirt. Ms. Pierce had laughed at his new look, insisting he continue wearing bras every day. She'd also relayed his mother's phone call, ending with a stern warning that he must obey his mother and sister in all therapy matters. Though they said nothing, Jamie knew his friends noticed his eyebrows. Kids whispered and pointed all day. Lisa, egged on by Ms. Pierce, was a constant thorn, wanting to hear all about his new panties and bras. Noticing his eyebrows and hips, she burst into laughter, gasping that he looked like a 60s starlet. In class, Lisa arched her back, pushed out her chest, and stared at Jamie before blowing him a smirk and a kiss. Football practice was worse. No one talked to him after Friday's game. His teammates glared and made nasty comments. After dinner, Ms. Collins started teaching Jamie knitting and needlework, chuckling that girls liked boys with domestic skills. The next day was more humiliation. As Megan supervised his underwear choices and taunted him, Jamie lost his temper and told her to shut the hell up. Megan cringed but quickly remembered the new household power dynamic. Recovering, she slapped him hard across the face. "No, you shut up, sissy boy. That's no way for a fairy to talk. You say that again and I'll tell Mom. Then it's bye-bye, Jamie." Jamie hung his head in frustrated shame, knowing she was right. "There, that's better. Now as punishment for your outburst, I have just the thing." Jamie slumped, knowing his temper had just cost him dearly. Megan returned from Jamie's dresser holding 2 gel inserts. Smiling, she carefully placed them into the cups of Jamie's bra. "There. Now you have something to show your classmates." Megan watched with a mischievous grin as Jamie's face registered surprise and worry about school. She enjoyed seeing him try to stay composed. "Now, let's go show Mom your new look. And remember to tell her how much you like it." "March," she said playfully, giving him a light tap on the back. Jamie's mother and sister then encouraged him to express how excited he was to have a new wardrobe. At school, Jamie tried to keep books or other items close to cover his new outfit. He even hid in a bathroom stall during lunch to avoid Lisa. His plan worked until after school. When he returned to change for practice, the entrance was blocked by Bob and several teammates. Jamie tried to leave but was stopped. "What's the hurry, Jamie. It's time for practice, and we think you should dress with the team, right, guys?" The boys laughed and escorted him to the locker room. Once inside, they surrounded him. "Okay, Jamie, Lisa says you're hiding something. Let's see." Jamie thought about running but knew it was hopeless. Bob lost patience. "Grab him." Hans quickly removed his clothes, leaving him standing before his teammates in only his new outfit. Tears formed as his teammates teased him. The commotion drew the coach, who arrived and was shocked to see Jamie in his attire. The coach demanded an explanation. "He's acting differently, coach." "Look, he's changed a lot," Bob said. The coach's face flushed with anger. "Get him out of here." "He's off the team," the coach ordered. "We need everyone focused." Bob and others escorted Jamie out. Jamie asked to get his clothes, but Bob said, "No way. You'll show everyone your new look. The cheerleaders are practicing nearby, they'll love it." He gave Jamie a gentle shove outside, where Lisa and the cheerleaders were waiting. "Jamie, your outfit is cute, but shouldn't you have something over it?" Lisa teased, while the girls laughed. Jamie struggled to stand. "Please, Lisa. I just want to go home. The coach kicked me off. The team's upset. Please help me get dressed so I can leave." Lisa smiled, recalling how different Jamie used to be. Now, he was humble and vulnerable. She remembered her own experiences of being underestimated and wanted to teach him a lesson. "We're short one for practice, come on, you'll be great." The girls gave Jamie pom-poms and helped him learn cheers. Jamie resisted until Lisa gave him a light pinch. "Cheer, or else." After a while, the girls rested, laughing and snapping photos of Jamie joining practice in his outfit. Lisa added stockings, a coat, and a hat. Jamie begged for more clothes. Lisa dressed him warmly and sent him home with a laugh and a playful pat on the back. Jamie walked home crying. By the time he arrived, his legs ached from the shoes, and the stares and comments stung. His mother and sister made him model his outfit again. Friday arrived, and Jamie was back in Ms. Pierce's office. He wasn't happy to hear she thought his therapy was progressing well. Given his mood, Ms. Pierce planned a reminder about the importance of cooperation. During the session, a police officer knocked and entered, causing Jamie to nearly faint. The officer explained he had received a report about an incident at school. Jamie listened nervously as the officer described new laws requiring serious consequences for certain offenses. Ms. Pierce assured the officer it was a false alarm and promised to inform him if anything changed. After the officer left, Jamie broke down in tears of relief. There, Ms. Pierce said gently. "Let's keep moving forward with your therapy. From now on, I want you to wear at least one piece of feminine clothing each day. It will help you grow and heal." She smiled as Jamie's tears began again. Later that night, Jamie overheard his mother laughing on the phone until tears came to her eyes. Composing herself, she spoke to Jamie, that was Ms. Pierce. "She told me all about your new assignment. It reminded me of that kind saleslady at La Femme and how much she enjoyed helping you pick out your undergarments. How about we have a girls' day shopping tomorrow for our little Sissy? I'm sure your saleslady friend will know exactly what you need to look your very best." Megan burst into laughter, while Jamie struggled not to cry. The next day, the Collins girls eagerly made their way through the busy mall toward La Femme. More accurately, two of them were gleeful. Jamie walked as if it were his final mile. His mother warned him sharply that if he didn't start enjoying himself, they would go home and call Miss Pierce. Thinking of the police officer from the day before, Jamie forced himself to cooperate. They finally arrived at La Femme, which was as busy as before. Ms. Whitman spotted them and made her way over, eyes locked on Jamie. Though she hadn't been eager to work, her entertainment had just arrived. From several feet away, she called out loudly, "Jamie darling, how is my favorite customer? I'm so glad you're here. We have the prettiest new things, I just know you're going to love them." Jamie cringed as she bent down to hug him and give a quick kiss on the cheek, drawing curious glances from other shoppers who knew Jamie as a regular. Holding Jamie at arm's length, she added, "Looks like someone's been busy with the tweezers, and I love your nails. Aren't they pretty? Bet you can't wait for them to grow longer, can you?" Jamie looked pleadingly at his mother, but she and Megan were too entertained to care. After thanking Jamie for his sweet thank you card, proudly displayed where all could see, she asked if they were looking for anything special. Ms. Collins cheerfully explained, although Sissy loves his girlish underthings, he simply can't bear wearing boys' outerwear anymore. He begged us to bring him here to shop, but we're not sure he's ready for skirts and dresses. We were hoping you could help. Of course. Anything for our little princess, Ms. Whitman said. Having heard the full story from Ms. Collins, she knew Jamie hadn't begged to come back, but that only made his situation more amusing. All sissies dream of ball gowns like Cinderella, but skirts must be earned. I know just the look for Sissy, ultra feminine but leaving no doubt he's still a boy, a sissy boy. She smirked at Jamie as Ms. Collins and Megan laughed loudly. Ms. Whitman invited them to a mirrored seating area while she gathered items. Jamie, meanwhile, was led by the arm into a dressing room and told to strip. He complied meekly, only delaying the inevitable. After what felt like hours, Ms. Whitman burst in, loaded with dozens of items. Pulling Jamie up, she mocked, "You're going to love what I picked." She handed him a black garment to try on. Jamie was relieved to see it was pants. "The zipper's in the back, dearie." He fixed it and pulled the pants on. They ended mid-calf and had small bows at the hems. What kind of pants are these?" "Capri pants, of course," Ms. Whitman said as she zipped them up. "Don't you love the snug fit? Your girdle gives you such a sweet, girlish front and a plump little bottom. Now, for a prissy little blouse." Jamie recoiled. The blouse was sheer white with huge puffed sleeves ending in tight cuffs high on his arms. The collar was large and round. Jamie whimpered as Ms. Whitman buttoned it up the back, but really started crying when she tied a huge black satin bow under his chin. Clearly enjoying herself, she laughed, "Sissy darling, we're just getting started." Next came lacy white ankle socks like those little girls wear. After those were on, Ms. Whitman forced Jamie's feet into black patent leather pumps with a 1-inch heel. "These will give you an adorable little wiggle." Though Jamie hoped otherwise, Ms. Whitman wasn't finished. Next came white girls' gloves. "Don't you love how your pretty polish shows through?" Finally, she draped a little purse over his arm. "See how it matches your pumps." Frozen with shame, Ms. Whitman spun Jamie around for the full effect. "Oh, Sissy, dry those tears. I know you'd rather wear a dress, but this outfit is darling on you. Now, when you come out, here's what I want you to do, or else. Sissy dear, we're waiting." Jamie took a deep breath and braced himself. Jamie's mother gasped at the sight of her son. He walked toward them, left hand on hip delicately, purse handle tucked in his bent elbow, and his hand posed fashion model style with palm up. Jamie smiled broadly, though his mother saw traces of tears. The outfit made him look ridiculously feminine. Trying to hold back laughter, his mother watched as Jamie did a pirouette. "Oh, Mom, don't you just love this outfit? Please, I simply must have it." "Well, of course you can, dear. It was made just for you. What do you think, Megan?" Megan managed to say between giggles, "Perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I love how you can see his bra, and it really brings out the best in our little sissy." Ms. Whitman quickly led Jamie back to the dressing room for more fittings. As the morning went on, Jamie was made to try on one outfit after another. Of course, Ms. Whitman's firm insistence meant he had to love each one and beg to keep them. He was dressed in blouses, sweaters, shorts, leggings, shoes, and accessories, all very feminine and elaborate. Finally, Ms. Collins told Jamie to put on his favorite outfit for the trip home. While Ms. Whitman took Jamie back to the dressing room, his mother and sister tried to recover from the laughter that had left them in tears. Ms. Collins wiped her eyes and told Megan, "Oh, Megan, I don't think I've ever had so much fun." Ms. Whitman picked the perfect outfits for your brother. They're feminine but don't hide the fact that he's still a boy. Megan replied excitedly, I know. I can't decide which I like best, the little sailor suit or the sweet Chanel short suit. Imagine Jamie running into his friends wearing either of those. He'd be so embarrassed. We should make him watch football practice in that preppy cashmere sweater set and wool shorts. I'll lend him my pearls. That would be hilarious. Ms. Collins laughed, picturing the scene. That would be quite entertaining. Personally, I think my favorite is the black velvet shorts and sheer black blouse. Did you see how his black bra was visible? I know he hated the big white cuffs and collar. And the accessories. Ms. Whitman added the perfect feminine touches, the little straw hat with ribbons and those gloves. I don't think Mr. Big Shot will cause much trouble dressed like this. As Jamie headed back to the dressing room for one last time, his mind reeled at the thought of appearing outside in those clothes. He was utterly exhausted. Each new outfit had brought frustration and tears. Being humiliated in front of his mother, sister, and other shoppers had left him emotionally drained. Ms. Whitman had continued to challenge his fragile confidence when they were alone, ignoring his requests for less obviously feminine clothing. She insisted someone as girlish as Jamie needed the most feminine outfits possible. Trying to gather himself, Jamie found some comfort in the fact that they would finally be leaving. Jamie couldn't imagine choosing a favorite outfit, but Ms. Whitman wasn't going to let him. Instead, she directed him to wear her favorite selection, high-waisted pink wool shorts with a back zipper, a matching pink Angora sweater with a delicate white lace collar. Don't you just love how the sweater shows your little chest, and a pink wool beret with a bow on the brim. Black patent leather shoes, lace ankle socks, white lace gloves, and a purse completed the look. Ms. Whitman fussed over Jamie, adjusting his outfit to make sure he looked perfect for his mother and sister. As a final touch, Ms. Whitman had Jamie look at himself in the dressing room mirror while cupping the bra's shape. Just look at you. You say you're a boy, but you're really a sweet little fairy. I bet you can't wait to show the boys your new clothes. Your mother should be proud of how far you've come. Finally, Ms. Whitman led a downcast Jamie to where his mother and sister were waiting. Both women smiled broadly at the sight of him in the outfit Ms. Whitman had chosen. Sissy, sweetheart. I thought you'd pick that one. It's soft, pink, and dainty, just like you. Megan couldn't resist tweaking her brother's sweater over the lace, making him wince. Seeing the flash of irritation, Megan laughed, knowing he couldn't stop her. She felt like he was now her doll to dress up and play with, and she fully intended to do so. Cheerfully, she took his arm and led him to his mother and Ms. Whitman. As Ms. Collins paid for the purchases, Ms. Whitman dropped a surprising suggestion. Clapping her hands, she said excitedly, You know, seeing Sissy model his new outfits today gave me an idea. I'm in charge of the mall's holiday fashion show, you know, the one where girls model the latest styles. We've never had a boy model before, but Sissy is just so sweet. Besides, he's hardly much of a boy, right? Oh, Ms. Whitman, what a wonderful idea. I'm sure Sissy would love to model for you. He might be embarrassed to appear in a dress in front of such a crowd, but I bet he'd be thrilled to wear a darling holiday dress with frills and petticoat. Don't you, Sissy? Jamie's knees weakened at the suggestion. He couldn't imagine anything more embarrassing than walking a fashion show in a dress. Worse, he knew Ms. Whitman would pick the most feminine dresses and make sure everyone knew he was a boy. Mom, I'm not so sure. I mean, Jamie searched desperately for an excuse. I've seen the mall's fashion shows, and the models are so pretty, and I don't think. Isn't that sweet? Sis worried he won't be as pretty as the other girls. Don't you worry, dearie, we'll make sure you're the prettiest model in the show. Megan grinned with delight, imagining her older brother walking down the runway in a fancy velvet dress, complete with petticoats and a big bow in the back. She pictured the crowd's laughter as the former quarterback made his way down the catwalk. The morning's humiliations and the smirk on Ms. Whitman's face pushed Jamie to his limit. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore, and you can't make me. Miss Collins grabbed Jamie's arm firmly and pulled him close. Listen to me. If you want to stay out of trouble, you'll do exactly as I say. I thought I made that clear. If Megan and I want to see you in a pretty dress on that runway, that's exactly what you'll do. And you owe Ms. Whitman an apology. She gave his bottom a quick swat. I am sorry, Ms. Whitman. I'd love to be in your fashion show, Jamie muttered, glancing nervously at his still angry mother. Apology accepted, dear. I just know you'll be the star of the show. Ms. Whitman smiled. Though, your little outburst reminds me you'll need to work on your manners if you're going to wear such darling clothes. Your attitude should match. Why, Ms. Whitman, what a wonderful idea. If Jamie's going to wear pretty things, I don't want him slouching around like a boy, Miss Collins added with a laugh. The women chuckled. Luckily, I know just the person who can help, Ms. Whitman said. Ms. Lang runs charm classes for girls. I'm sure she can bring out the best girl in your son. I'll give her a call. Ms. Whitman thought to herself that Ms. Lang would be strict but effective, and Jamie could certainly use some guidance. Jamie's mother and sister were delighted by the idea. Once again, Jamie was made to thank Ms. Whitman for her kind offer, and Miss Collins promised to call that afternoon. Loaded with several pink shopping bags filled with Jamie's new wardrobe, the trio headed for the store entrance. Jamie stiffened, dreading leaving the safety of the store dressed as he was. Despite his protests, Ms. Collins and Megan took his arms and led him out. As they walked to a nearby cafe for lunch, they enjoyed the surprised and amused looks from passers-by directed at Jamie's feminine appearance. During lunch, Megan was having so much fun that she didn't want the day to end. Jamie, eager to get home, listened in fear as his sister suggested, "Mother, when I was 13, you let me start wearing makeup. I think it's only fair that Sissy gets to do the same." Miss Collins, already thinking of ways to keep Jamie under control, agreed. What a coincidence, I was just thinking that. Let me call Ms. Whitman and see what she thinks. She always has the best ideas. Jamie sat quietly as his mother dialed the store. He hoped Ms. Whitman would say no. He overheard his mother say, "Hello, Ms. Whitman. This is Sarah Collins, Jamie's mother. We were just having lunch when Jamie insisted he be allowed to wear makeup. I know, I thought he'd be embarrassed enough already, but you know Sissy." "Yes, I see. That sounds like a wonderful idea. I'm sure Sissy will love it too. Goodbye." His mother reported the conversation cheerfully. "Well, darling, Ms. Whitman couldn't believe how fast you're growing up. She has some wonderful ideas about your makeup. I can't wait to see the results. Let's go." Jamie tossed the shopping bags onto his bed, feeling numb. He had just endured one of the most embarrassing days of his life. Sitting on his bed, he caught sight of himself in the mirror on the closet door, still dressed in his pretty and pink outfit, but now wearing the heavy makeup that the saleslady had applied under his mother and sister's direction. At the cosmetic counter, Miss Collins explained that Jamie had begged them to let him use makeup, and he was so precious they couldn't say no. As Megan whispered instructions to the giggling salesgirl, Miss Collins directed her attention to Jamie, who was not allowed to see what was being done to his face. "Sissy, Ms. Whitman says you're ready for makeup. Most girls your age wear a little, some lip gloss and mascara. The goal is to look pretty, but natural. But since you're only pretending, Ms. Whitman suggested something a little more dramatic. Something that says, 'Look at me.'" Miss Collins wheeled Jamie around to face the mirror. Jamie gasped. He looked like a 1950s movie star, with heavy foundation, bright blush, false lashes, and bright red lipstick matching his nails.